just stepped on the cat's foot and she will not come over here. She was rolling around in all the dirt outside, so she's like a different shade of white. It's been kind of a slower week. I haven't worked too many extra hours, mostly because I've just been doing scopes and fees, so putting together what it takes for us to do the work and how many hours and how long it's going to take us to do the work. And I've been doing that for a bunch of different change orders on the same project, 2 different projects. And it's just a lot of scopes and fees. It's the boring part of being a PM. She's gonna sleep on all of my freshly laundered clothing with her really dirty fur. Poor shits. As you may have heard, my AC broke, so I did get a new AC, better for worse. The previous one was on R410, which is a Freon, and it, if it gets into the environment, it's like releasing ozone, depleting something. So I don't actually know. So the new coolant that you have to use is R410, and as of January of next year, you won't be able to get parts or anything. They're not allowed to install parts or anything that's on the old coolant system, so it has to be upgraded. And so my heat pump, which is a compressor that can go in reverse, so it can compress. So the coolant, it compresses the coolant, compresses the air, compresses something to make the air conditioning part of it. It can go in reverse and pull in heat from the outside to heat your house. So it'll take in like the residual heat that's in the air, even on a cold day, and use it to heat your house. So it's more efficient than just using a furnace, which is kind of cool. It's got the heat pump, but then it has to have an auxiliary source because the heat pump will only get so much heat, and the rest of the heat has to come from a different source, like a furnace, or in my case, I have electric heat. They're electric heat strips. So, my heat pump broke. The motor on it broke and got gross soot all into my Freon lines. And I was going to need a new motor. They would probably just give you a whole new heat pump because that's kind of how it works when you get contracting work done. Like, I think if it broke, my dad would have fixed it. He would probably just replace like the one part that broke, but it's easier to replace the whole unit, which they sell the whole unit. So they would have had to replace that, and all the work and labor for that would have been like $4,000, which is a lot. So instead, I had them upgrade to the new system, R410, so that if something breaks post-January, I don't have to pay $8,000 then to upgrade my system instead of getting it now, which is kind of stressful. I was like moving finances around and trying to get into my rainy day fund to move it around, and I ended up not being able to connect in my rainy day fund, so right now I've got it on my credit card, which is safe, and I'm still trying to get my rainy day fund hooked up so that I can move the money over before my credit card auto pays itself from my bank account. Yeah, technology. And then when they put it in, they couldn't get the new thermostat to work, which I have a Honeywell. The T5. It's kind of like the cheap version of the new cheap Nest. That's bare minimum smart device just to be able to use your thermostat from your phone. And they couldn't get the air conditioning part to work. They could only get the heat part to work. And they were trying to tell me that they saw some comments online that it just doesn't, like, it's not designed right and doesn't work for AC. And I was like, no. let's like have somebody who actually knows about this in here to install it. So I told them, like, I'm unhappy with this. I'm not going I, I don't want an old Honeywell put in there. I want my new Honeywell in there. Which was a question I was asked by the sales guy. I was like, "Are you happy with your new smart device?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm happy with it." So I expected it to go back in. Yeah, so instead of just like paying the remainder of the fee I had due, I was like, no, I'm uncomfortable paying that. I would like my actual thermostat put back in, and so I called the office, and it was a little bit late, but they had somebody. They put it in the schedule for an installation guy to come out today and take a look at it. And he came in and he tried to tell me the same thing, like, oh yeah, all those Honeywells are just not built right. They don't work for what they're designed to work for. And I was like, let's try it. And he realized that it wasn't that the unit's not designed right, and all the amateurs online who have comments are just like don't know what they're talking about. It's more that the one of the wiring guides says put the orange one in the W. It should have said put the orange one in the O/B. And so the manual is wrong, is what's going on. But he was able to fix it, and he was like, that's the last time I listened to my guys. I was trying to back them up that they knew what they were talking about, and they didn't. And he was like, they should have known that that wire does not go in that place, and the manual tells you it goes in. So he got it to work. But I guess it was reminding me of the book I'm reading right now, or listening to, which is a Brene Brown book, who's a professor out of Houston, University of Houston, and she's got her own company where she goes and she speaks to companies and CEOs and does a lot of like leadership speaking on the side, and she talks about shame and vulnerability and work culture associated with it. And so I was listening to, I don't know if it was a TED Talk or what of hers, that, or maybe it was the book, that she was saying, like, don't just be upset and not say anything. Like, you have to tell people where your boundaries are if you want them to be able to respect them. And so, like, I straight out told him, like, I'm unhappy with this. I was under the impression that I'm getting my thermostat in, and now I've been downgraded to this old, not smart thermostat. And so I'm not paying the remainder of the fee until it's fixed. So they got it done, it was good. So that's all my week has been. Not very exciting. We went to Astronomy on Tap on Tuesday or Wednesday as astronomy talks at the bar, and Roth bought me drinks because he was like, you're broke, you just bought a new AC. So we went and got some drinks and listened to the talk about the new image that came out last week of the black hole. They were able to photograph a black hole for the first time. So we learned all about black holes and accretion disks, which are like gases, something surrounding the black hole, and they've got these jets that go into them, and it all seems like very sci-fi, and I was shocked that it was actually real science that we were talking about and not just some sci-fi book. So yeah, that was my Wednesday night. That and watching a lot of Queer Eye season 3 and listening to my audiobooks. So that's what I've been doing, and that's probably what I'm gonna do this weekend. So I'm gonna let you guys go. Have a happy weekend. Bye.